Have you ever woken up with a knot in your stomach that no doctor could explain? Or a stiffness in your neck that appears only when life feels impossible to navigate? Your body is not a random collection of bones and flesh that malfunctions without reason. It is the most sophisticated communication system you will ever possess. Every ache, every pang, every mysterious twinge is a carefully coded letter from the deepest parts of you, the parts that speak in sensations because you haven't been listening to your own whispers. But we live in a world that teaches us to silence the messenger. We reach for the painkiller. We dismiss the fatigue as a bad night's sleep. We normalize a constant low-level misery as just part of getting older. We become fluent in ignoring the one thing that is trying with increasing desperation to guide us back to wholeness. What if that recurring headache wasn't a Tylenol deficiency? What if that burning in your shoulders wasn't just from sitting at a desk? Today, we are going to decipher this secret physiology. We will map the emotional geography of the human body and trace the invisible lines from a buried trauma to a physical knot. And most importantly, I'm going to walk you through a process to finally decode what your own flesh has been screaming at you, sometimes for years. Stay with me until the end, because once you learn to read this language, you will never see sickness, pain, or your own reflection the same way again. Let's start with a foundational truth that echoes from ancient healing traditions to the analytic office of Carl Jung. The body is the visible apparatus of the invisible soul. There is no separation. Your psyche, your thoughts, your repressed memories, your unspoken fears, they don't just float around in your head. They have weight. They have mass. They need a place to live. And when the conscious mind refuses them entry, they take up residence in your cells. Think back to the last time you felt truly anxious, not just worried, but gut-wrenching, palm-sweating anxiety. Where did you feel it? In your thoughts? Or in the pit of your stomach, the tightness in your chest, the tremor in your hands? The emotion was experienced as a physical event. When we consistently suppress these emotional events, when we tell ourselves we are fine when we are falling apart, or we don't want to be a burden when we are drowning, we are simply pushing that physical event deeper into the tissues. Jung had a famous maxim: the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. But the alternative is far more terrifying. The alternative is that the parts of yourself you refuse to accept will eventually manifest as your fate, or in this context, as your chronic condition. The problem isn't the initial feeling of sadness or anger. The problem is the habit of locking it in the basement of your body and throwing away the key. So we pop a pill to quiet the screaming from the basement, but we never go down to see what's causing the ruckus. We treat the noise, not the source, and the noise only gets louder. Healing, in this sense, isn't about achieving a state of perpetual pleasure. It's about becoming a good listener. It's about understanding that a recurring migraine isn't just a blood vessel issue. It's a message from a mind that has been running at full speed for months, begging for a moment of stillness, for the permission to simply stop. The external solutions we chase, the pills, the distractions, the numbing agents, they are just band-aids on a wound that needs air. The real medicine is often internal. It's a permission slip you give yourself to pause, to question the relentless shoulds you pile upon your own shoulders, and to finally ask, what have I been refusing to feel? Your gut has known the answer all along. The question that haunts us isn't, why is this happening to me? But what is this trying to tell me? Let's find out. Now, let's travel up the spinal column to the crossroads of burden and flexibility, the neck and shoulders. These structures are designed for movement, for turning our head to see new possibilities. But for so many, they become rigid, locked in a permanent state of tension. Carl Jung spoke extensively about the persona, the mask we wear for the world. The neck and shoulders are often where we physically hold that mask in place. Think about it. When you feel trapped in a dead-end job, or suffocated in a relationship that's run its course, or paralyzed by a decision you're afraid to make, where does the tension land? It grips the neck. It's a physical manifestation of a psychological inability to turn and face a different path. You are quite literally stiff-necked in your resistance to change. The body is whispering, you need more flexibility here, not just in your cervical spine, but in your identity. You are clinging to an idea of yourself that no longer fits. The tension is the friction of holding on to an outdated self-concept. And the shoulders? They are the crossbar for the weight of the world. How many times have you heard someone say, I feel like I have the weight of the world on my shoulders? It's a cliche because it's a universal truth. We accumulate burdens that aren't ours to carry. We take on the emotional state of our family, the responsibilities of a colleague who won't pull their weight, the expectations of a society that tells us we must be constantly productive. We become the pillar for everyone else, the one who is strong, the one who holds it together. But a pillar doesn't move. A pillar just stands there and cracks under the pressure. If your shoulders are a permanent knot, ask yourself this deeply uncomfortable question. Who am I trying to save? And why am I refusing to let anyone save me? Here is a practice you can try right now as you watch this. Imagine you're wearing a heavy, wet cloak. It's the cloak of everyone else's problems, of your own impossible standards. Now, in your mind, reach up, unclasp it from your neck, and let it fall to the floor in a heap. Feel the immediate lightness. Take one deep breath without that weight. That single breath is a glimpse of freedom. It's a reminder that life is not solely about enduring the load, but about knowing with absolute certainty when it is time to lay it down. Moving down the chain, let's consider the arms and hands. These are our primary instruments for interaction. We reach out with them to connect, to build, to push away. In the language of the body, the arms symbolize our capacity to embrace life and to hold on for dear life. Pain or weakness here often points to a profound imbalance in the universal flow of giving and receiving. Observe the human condition. We are often very comfortable in the role of the giver. It feels virtuous, controlled, safe. We give our time, our energy, our love. But when someone tries to give back to us, when we're asked to receive a compliment, help, love, support, we freeze. We feel unworthy, indebted, uncomfortable. This imbalance creates a stagnation. If your arms ache, your body may be asking, why is your heart so open to others, but locked tight to yourself? And the hands, they are the perfect metaphor for our relationship with control. Is your default state to have them clenched in a fist, gripping tightly to a relationship that has soured, a version of yourself that is gone, a future you are desperately trying to force into existence? Jung believed that the secret to life is to die before you die, to let go of the ego's grip on what was and what should be, so you can be fully alive to what is. The clenched fist resists the flow of life. It creates tension all the way up the arm and into the heart. Try this. Extend your hands, palms up. This is the position of receiving. Now, slowly turn them over, palms down. This is the position of letting go. Do this with intention. As you turn them down, visualize releasing a specific worry, a grudge, a fear, and say to yourself, I release this grip. As you turn them up, visualize opening yourself to something new, peace, a new idea, support from the universe. Transformation is not a battle, it is an unfurling. It is trusting that what you need will come to you when you stop strangling life with your expectations. Now we arrive at the most sacred chamber, the chest. This is not merely a cage for your lungs and heart. It is the throne room of your soul. Every breath you take carries the echo of every joy and every sorrow you've ever known. When the chest feels tight, heavy, or painful, it is almost never a mechanical failure. It is a signal that an emotion has been imprisoned there, a grief that was never fully wept, a betrayal that was never fully acknowledged, a love that was lost and never grieved. We are masters of the stiff upper lip. We walk through life with a smile plastered on our face, while a silent scream is lodged in our sternum. We function, we produce, we socialize, but deep inside, a part of us is holding its breath, waiting for permission to finally break down. That pressure you feel, that's the weight of 1,000 unshed tears. That's the memory of a moment you never got to express. Jung spoke of the shadow, the parts of ourselves we hide. The chest is where the shadow often lives, pressing against the ribs, demanding to be seen. Healing begins not when the pain goes away, but when you finally turn toward it. When you place your hand over your heart, and instead of running, you ask it, "What is it? What is the story you need to tell me? What memory is trapped here?" This isn't about fixing a broken machine. You are not broken. This is about remembering that your body is your most faithful companion. It doesn't lie to you. It doesn't gaslight you. It tells you the absolute truth every single time. That ache is an invitation to come home to yourself. Let's go deeper into this idea of emotional archaeology. Jung's entire therapeutic method was about integration, not excision. You cannot cut out a part of your past. You have to dig it up, hold it, understand it, and let it become part of the whole. The pressure in your chest isn't just a random muscle spasm. It could be the weight of a life lived for others. It could be the grief of a childhood you never had. It could be the suffocation of a truth you have never dared to speak out loud. We stay in jobs that drain us, relationships that diminish us, and identities that constrict us, all because we are afraid of the disappointment of others. We carry the weight of their expectations right there in the center of our chest. But the heart was designed for one thing, to beat with freedom. It has a rhythm, a natural, intuitive pulse that guides us when we let it. If you are feeling that persistent heaviness, give it a voice. Write a letter you will never send. Spill every secret, every complaint, every unshed tear onto the page. Let your hand move without thinking. And when you're done, let yourself cry. Cry until your chest heaves. Because tears aren't a sign of collapse. They are the pressure valve of the soul. And when the heart finally releases what it has been clenching, the body follows suit with a profound peace that no pill can replicate. Turn your back on the world for a moment and face your back. This is the structure that supports us, but it is also the part of us we cannot see. It represents our unseen support, but also our unseen burdens. The upper back, the area between the shoulder blades, is a classic repository for the burden of perfectionism. We load this area with the weight of being everything to everyone. We take on the emotional well-being of our parents, our partners, our children. We feel a crushing responsibility for everyone's happiness but our own. Jung had a powerful insight. I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. But when we are carrying the weight of what happened, or the weight of what we think we should be, we cannot become anything new. The upper back pain is the load of the ideal self, crushing the real self. It's the exhaustion of trying to live up to an image that exists only in your head. Move down to the lower back, and the message shifts to something more primal. This is our foundation, our center of gravity. Pain here is almost always tied to our core needs: security, survival, money, stability. It is the home of the fear response. When life feels unpredictable, when the future looks murky, when we are terrified of not having enough, that fear settles in the lumbar spine. It's the physical echo of a mind that is constantly bracing for impact, waiting for the other shoe to drop. Here is a visualization to try. See your worries about your finances, your future, your safety, not as thoughts, but as a heavy rucksack strapped to your lower back. Now, in your mind's eye, simply unbuckle it. Feel the release as it thuds to the ground. Stand up straight, take a breath, and say to yourself, I am supported. I trust the process of my own life, even when I cannot see the destination. Relief is often a conscious decision to stop carrying the fear of tomorrow today. Finally, let's look down at the foundation of it all: your legs and feet. These are your pillars of motion. They are what take you from where you are to where you want to be. When you feel heaviness, fatigue, or pain in your legs, you must ask a terrifying question: am I stuck? Jung said, if you are neurotic, you are stuck in a pattern, a past, a fear. The legs are the physical manifestation of this psychological inertia. Perhaps you have been postponing a major life decision for years. You know you need to leave, to start, to change, but fear of the unknown has turned your legs to stone. You are frozen in a life that feels safe but dead. The heaviness you feel isn't from walking too far. It's from standing too still in a place you don't belong. Your body is telling you, move. Any direction is better than this paralysis. And your feet, your connection to the earth, to reality. Persistent foot pain, plantar fasciitis, aching soles. These can be signs that you have lost your grounding. You feel unsteady, uncertain about the very ground you walk on. You may be walking a path that was chosen for you by your parents, your culture, your fear, and it is not your path. Your feet hurt because every step feels like a betrayal of your true self. They are calling you back to the present moment, to the feeling of the earth beneath you, to the now. They are asking you to stop running from yourself and to stand firmly in your own truth. Try this. Go outside, take off your shoes and socks, walk on the grass, the soil, the sand, feel it. Imagine roots growing from the soles of your feet deep into the core of the earth. This simple act of grounding can reconnect you with the stability that is always there, waiting for you to stop living in your head and start living in your body. Ask yourself, what do I need to leave behind so I can finally step forward? Let me tell you a story. There was once a renowned sculptor. Her hands, though aged, could coax angels from blocks of marble. But one day, her hands seized. A crippling pain locked her fingers into claws. She could no longer hold a chisel. She went to doctors, specialists, healers. They gave her creams, pills, and exercises. Nothing worked. In despair, she traveled to a remote mountain to visit an old woman known for her strange wisdom. The old woman didn't look at her hands. She looked into her eyes and asked, "What are you so angry about that you cannot let go of?" The sculptor was offended. "I am not angry," she insisted. "I am a peaceful person." The old woman just smiled and said, "Then why are your hands trying to strangle the world?" That night, alone in her hut, the sculptor finally allowed herself to feel it. A lifetime of resentment toward a father who never believed her, who said her art was a waste of time. She had buried that rage so deep, she had convinced herself it didn't exist. But her hands remembered. They had clenched in fury every time she picked up a tool, fighting against the very act of creation her father had mocked. She sat on the floor, and for the first time, She didn't suppress the anger. She let it rise. She screamed into a pillow. She pounded the floor with her fists. She let the tears of a lifetime fall. When the storm passed, she felt a strange looseness in her joints. She looked at her hands. The pain was still there, but it was different. It was quieter. It was no longer a scream, but a whisper. She returned to her studio. She picked up a piece of clay, not to sculpt an angel, but to sculpt her father. She worked with a fury she had never allowed herself, shaping his disapproving face, his critical eyes. And when she was done, she took the sculpture and smashed it to pieces on the floor. In that act of destruction, something broke inside her. The last chains of her repressed rage shattered. Her hands, in the days that followed, slowly, miraculously healed. She didn't heal her hands, she healed the story her hands were telling. This is the profound wisdom of the body. The sculptor's pain wasn't in her muscles, it was in her history. Behind every chronic ache, there is an untold story. Behind every persistent tension, there is an unfaced fear. Your body is not a random machine breaking down. It is an ancient, intelligent, sacred text written in the language of sensation. And the pain is not asking for a pill, it is begging you to read it, because the path to healing is paved with the courage to feel what you have been avoiding. Ask yourself now, with radical honesty, what is the burden you have been carrying that is not yours to hold? What grief have you locked away? What is the burden you have been carrying that is not yours to hold? What grief have you locked away? What truth have you been too afraid to speak? It is not enough to treat the symptom. If you don't excavate the emotion behind it, it will return again and again, like a tide, until you finally stop building walls and let the water in. Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Your fate until now has been this pain. Your fate has been the migraine that sends you to bed, the back that goes out at the worst possible moment, the anxiety that sits on your chest. These are not random events. They are the unconscious, directing your life. They are the parts of you you've ignored, now in charge. You can medicate the messenger, but you cannot kill the message. The only way out is through. The only way to stop the pain is to stop running from its source. The first real step toward healing is not physical. It is the emotional courage to sit with yourself and ask, what emotion is trapped here? What am I refusing to feel? What part of my shadow am I ready to bring into the light? Take a moment, right now. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. Scan your body. Where is the tension? Where is the ache? Don't judge it. Don't try to fix it. Just listen. Ask it with compassion. What is your message for me? Maybe it's fear. Maybe it's a deep, ancient grief. Maybe it's a rage so hot you're terrified it will consume you. Maybe it's just a profound, soul-level exhaustion. Healing begins in that silent, honest recognition, not with a plan, not with a cure, but with the simple, brave act of listening. Today, I invite you to take one small, powerful step toward reclaiming your wholeness. In the comments below, I want you to write just 2 words. I listen. Don't just type it. Mean it. Feel it. This is a declaration. It's a promise to yourself that you will stop silencing the signals. It's a commitment to become a student of your own body, to treat every ache not as an enemy, but as a wise teacher. And the next time you feel that familiar knot in your shoulder, that tightness in your chest, that heaviness in your legs. Don't reach for the remote or the medicine cabinet first. Pause. Put your hand on that spot and listen. Remember, every pain is a prayer for attention. Every discomfort is a doorway to a deeper understanding of yourself. Don't get trapped in the suffering. Don't numb the signal. Don't ignore the call. Your body is your greatest ally, your oldest friend. It is asking for your presence, not your punishment. So now I ask you, what has your body been trying to tell you lately? Where is the pain, and what story do you think it holds? Share it below. Your vulnerability might be the key that unlocks someone else's prison. And if you've stayed with me on this journey to the very end, write the word awareness in the comments so I know you were here and so we can continue this conversation in the next video. If this exploration resonated with you, if you found a moment of clarity or a spark of recognition, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. There are deeper waters to explore. And remember, healing is not a finish line you cross. It is a path you walk, one conscious step at a time. And you, right now, are already on it. See you on the next one.